collaboration with the Cyprus Mail. This is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
On this week's programme, we delve into Cypriot viticulture at the 12th Cyprus Wine Festival, meeting the president of the International Organisation of Vine and Wine.
And I was so surprised with the good quality. And you have here a very important treasure, I would like to say like this, your varieties, your native varieties.
The Agriculture Minister, who promised to support the local wine industry.
We are very proud that an international jury has recommended through the evaluation the Cypriot wines to everybody, to the local market and to the international market.
And the chairman of the Cyprus Winemakers Association.
The international judges we had, the knowledge, the experience and the pictures they carry with them, it comes from the international place.
Also this week, a plan to solve our traffic problems.
Possibly will be one of the first countries in the region to apply such approaches, and we're foreseeing very good results.
I was recently fortunate enough to attend the gala dinner and prize giving of the 12th Cyprus Wine Competition. With me on the programme this week is the president of the jury. She is Dr. Regina Vanderlinde from Brazil. Regina, thanks for joining me. Now, South America, of course, has its own wine tradition, but I wonder how, for example, the Mediterranean compares in terms of the quality and the varieties of grapes that are grown.
Yes, this is my first time in Cyprus, and I was so surprised with the good quality. And you have here a very important treasure, I would like to say like this, your varieties, your native varieties. And I was so surprised with the high quality, the typicity of this wine. We can feel here Cyprus, the minerality, the ocean, the fruits, the sun. So I was really surprised and how can I say enchanted with your wines.
We've got a lot of young new wineries and winemakers, enologists here, who've brought a new ethos, if you like, to the way we make wines. Although Cyprus has, I think it's a 6,000-year tradition of winemaking, so you'd think it was in our blood, but they tend to use the Xynistiri and Maratheftico grapes, but a lot of them also blend them very successfully. So tell us a little bit, if you will, about the difference between a single grape variety and a blend.
Okay, I had the opportunity to taste single varieties in the competition and blends. And sometimes the single varieties are very good, and sometimes a blend also is very good. It depends the quality of the grapes in the year. It depends on many factors. So it's a good idea, I think, to mix it, and it's a good idea to make the single varieties. It depends of the quality and the possibility that the winemaking have. And I think it's very important to have the young winemakers. It's important like this, they will continue the traditional and the historical.
But they're also open to new ideas and new methodologies, and that,
why
I think, changed the way we make wine in Cyprus a couple of decades ago, because it wasn't very good in the past.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's
yes,
really competitive, isn't it?
Yes, many people told me about this. It's my first time here, and I couldn't say the past, but now it's very good.
How can they compete in a global market where so many countries make wine, and a lot of them make it on a much bigger scale? So, of course, pricing is all important to some degree if you want to expand your market.
Okay, I think you should think about your typicity your autochthonous varieties. Because in the world of the wine, we always looking for the special, different things. And I think your wine is special and it's different because it's your terroir, your characteristics, your varieties. And even you are small producers, you have that heritage, and you should protect this, and you should tell to the world about your typicity and your quality of your wines.
That is Dr. Regina van der Linde, who was president of the jury at the 12th Cyprus Wine Competition. She's also president of the International Organisation of Vine and Wine.
Keep up to date with events in Cyprus and around the world with the Cyprus News Digest.
The Minister for Agriculture, Natural Resources and the Environment, Kostas Kadis, spoke at the gala dinner. He pledged to support Cypriot winemakers, announcing that €23 million would be made available to the National Viticulture Support Programme for 2019 through to 2023. I spoke to him afterwards.
We have to focus on products that they are of high quality and they have identity. And Cypriot wines are these kind of products. So we are very proud of the results of this competition. Through the competition we managed to promote our wines. We managed to show to everybody, locally and internationally, that our wines are ready to compete at the international level, at the international competition. And we are very proud that an international jury has recommended through the evaluation the Cypriot wines to everybody, I mean to the local market and to the international market.
Now, in terms of Ministry of Agriculture, what can you do to promote the health of our vine and wine industry?
We have established this national program for the promotion of the wine sector in Cyprus, which is continuously upgrading, and it provides approximately €5 million per year for the upgrading of the wine sector.
What proportion of our agricultural exports, for example, or even of the internal market is wine? Because years ago, Cypriots didn't drink wine.
Yes.
They drank whiskey and brandy, and wine was something else for foreigners. Now that's changed.
I don't remember the numbers now, but progressively there is an increase, and a constant increase of the interest of Cypriots on the local wine. We see Cypriots to get more interested about our local varieties, which is very important. And we also know that there is interest from abroad. So what we have to do is to continue promoting and supporting the wine sector and our wines. And I feel very confident that very soon we will have the brand name also for abroad. Actually, today we discussed with the President Information Office Director ways of further promoting our wine both in Cyprus and abroad.
Now, one of the major markets in the past was, of course, the UK, and we don't know what's happening with Brexit. Will that affect exports to the British market?
Well, we have to wait to see what will be the decision and the situation with Brexit. Let me tell you that in UK there is a very, very big Cypriot community that promotes Cyprus wine. I will be in June to London for the promotion of Cyprus wine there.
The purchasers in England tend to be Brits, so we need to keep that going, don't we?
Yes, we need to keep that going, and we will work towards securing that we will continue this way. We will examine the whole situation according to what will be the final result with Brexit, the final situation, and we will take our decisions respectively.
Final question. As the Minister of Agriculture, what else can you do to help the viticulture sector in Cyprus and our winemakers? There are more of them, they're getting more innovative, and it's all good, surely, for Cyprus exports.
We are in the process of developing a holistic approach, a holistic strategy in order to promote the wine sector in Cyprus. And towards this direction, we will invite the winemakers in order to discuss with them measures that will be efficient and effective according to their perspectives and their views, in order to include them in our strategy. So through this discussion and through this collaboration, I think that we can decide the most efficient way to move forward.
Our Minister for Agriculture, Natural Resources and the Environment, Kostas Kadis.
You can subscribe to the Cyprus News Digest on iTunes for free and get the program downloaded to your phone or tablet so you can listen anytime, anywhere.
Next, I spoke to the chairman of the Cyprus Winemakers Association, Pambos Panayiotou, and I asked him to explain the significance, indeed the importance, of competitions like this for the industry on the island.
The wine competition is the platform where everyone can go and exhibit his wines, and these wines are going to be scrutinized, checked and criticized by some of the well-known international sommelier wine masters and wine producers who are in the international wine tasting arena. So it is very important because not your local friends, associates or people who know you're testing your wine, but some people from overseas who are going to test it against other international wines.
But we are only talking here about Cyprus wines, and yet a lot of our winemakers put their wines into competitions abroad, and they do very well.
Yes, we do also have our local competition where everyone has the chance to put his wine. Not everyone has the chance to go overseas and send them to international competitions. Some of them, they don't want it to be lost within so many other wineries in the international place. So when you do it locally, you give the chance to everyone in the local market so as that they can compete between them.
And get a rating, basically. That's
Yes.
what it's all about, isn't it? A recommendation. Now, of how many wines entered, an awful lot got gold medals. Explain how the system works.
Yes. We are doing our competition under the regulations of the OYV, the International Viniculture Organization. And these rules are specifically made under this organization, and they predict that only 30% are going to get a medal. So they say that whichever wine gets 80 marks to 82 can get a bronze medal. 82 to 85 they can get a silver medal. 85 to 91 they can get a gold medal, and 91 over that you can get a grand gold medal. So they mark them and they get their rating if it is passing the base to get a bronze, a silver or a gold medal.
Let me just ask you this, though, because my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that if you get a bronze medal, you can't actually use that in your marketing.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
But
no, it's not fine, because surely the whole point is that you want to be able to say, we got a bronze medal, we got a silver medal.
Rosie, before going there, let's see how the marking is made. So they mark them, and they get the rating, and they decide if it's what kind of medal they can get and what not. Now, the fact that only the 30% can take a medal, only the top 30% of the wines are going to take a medal. So they start from top, come down, and they stop at the 30%. And this time it stopped at gold medals. The 30% stopped within the gold medals boundaries.
Now, sorry, let me ask you something else then. Were there below the 30%, at let's say 29.5, some other wines that also qualified for a gold medal?
Yes.
Isn't that unfair then, if they can't use that information for their marketing?
they can use the information because they get the information that let's say someone scored 86, which is within the gold boundaries, but he didn't get the medal because he was not within the top 30%. He still gets the rating, so he can still use it within his marketing material.
Can he?
Yes, of course. He cannot say he got a medal because he didn't get a medal, but he can say, I got a rating of 86 marks.
It's not quite as punchy, is it, as saying a
But
gold medal? Do you think that the rules are fair, or should we look again at how they're done to possibly make it more acceptable for winemakers who are up there at the top to be able to use this in their marketing? If you say to me, my wine got 84%, I don't know what that means, but if you say my wine got a gold medal, then you can put it on the label, you can put it in your advertising. It's a big difference.
Everything is subjective, all right? But these are the rules that we knew beforehand. So when you go and play a game and you know the rules of the game, you have to follow the rules of the game. You don't like them, you don't go and play the game. So we know the rules. And I am of the opinion that 30% is quite right. It's decent because we have a competition. Not everyone can excel. Otherwise, why making the competition if anyone can get the medal? So I agree completely with the fact that there is a marking according to this 30%.
And now, you would say, I presume, that the important thing is that the judges came from all over the world, so that they have, in a sense, an international standard, and that will help our winemakers to improve.
And apart from that, the international judges we had, the knowledge, the experience, and the pictures they carry with them, it comes from the international place. So when they sit down to judge a wine and they judge the color, for example, and they have to mark the clarity of the color, they judge it against to what they know from their international experience. They don't judge it in between the local wines because they don't know them. So they judge it against the international experience and knowledge they have.
So that's raising the standards in Cyprus.
So if so many wines manage to score high, it means that they can stand very fairly and very decently next to international wines from abroad. All we have to do is we have to go out and explain to the people, to the consumers, to the wine lovers, how the competition is being made and how the marking and the rating is being made and how a medal is being won. 30% they get a medal. If they are all gold, it means that they are all very, very good wines, and they have to know that. But only 30% gets a medal. If you are in another competition which doesn't follow the OIV regulations, they may say that whichever manages to score this 80, 81, 85, whatever, they get the medal. You know that we would have 91% of the participants gaining a medal. That's nice, but then again, they will come and say, what kind of competition is this where everyone managed to get a medal? So does it really matter to have a medal? A coin always has two sides.
That's the chairman of the Cyprus Winemakers Association, Bambos Panayotou.
In collaboration with the Cyprus Mail, this is the Cyprus News Digest with Rosie Charalambous.
The biggest achievement of Crime Stoppers has been the ability of the public to be able to give information about crime anonymously.
There's no way I could have kept prostituting without the drugs. There's no way I could have had my body used like a public toilet, because that's actually what prostitution is.
And then the fourth series I started 3 days after I'd won the Oscar, so the whole of the Monarch of the Glen experience was all interplatted with the Gosford Park Oscar experience.
I was working with Ronnie James Dio, and David was going to reform Whitesnake in 2003.
Cyprus was chosen because Cyprus is a stable, peaceful and secure place.
We have to really look closely. What are we doing with children? What are we doing with adolescents? And what are we doing with adults that can help them move into a more literate situation?
The ones that I'm proudest of are the ones that were true discoveries, where we found something we didn't know existed.
We've talked a lot on recent programmes about the traffic in Cyprus towns. It's pretty appalling. Well, my next guest is a professor at the University of Cyprus. He is Loukas Dimitriou, and he was speaking at a recent conference on preliminary traffic modelling features incorporating real-time information for the city of Nicosia. Sounds promising to me, Loukas. What does it mean?
It is promising. Now we are moving at the current period, we are moving towards more smart solutions for treating traffic problems. Congestion and traffic is a multi-caused problem, but we're trying to apply smart solutions based on advanced modeling and advanced algorithms in order to treat traffic. In this approach, we're trying in two directions. The first one is to provide information to users about the traffic, the current traffic conditions, so they can change or re-estimate their route choices and the destination choices at the one direction. The second is to try to optimize the traffic signaling, the traffic lights. So we could provide traffic plans such as to optimize the performance of Nicosia's network. It is a new approach. It's a very advanced approach. Possibly it will be one of the first countries in the region to apply such approaches, and we're foreseeing very good results.
OK, let's just go back a bit, because you mentioned, in a sense, smart traffic lights. I seem to recall that when George Vasiliou was president, he said that we were going to put in traffic lights that could monitor how many cars were lined up and switch accordingly. Did we ever do that? Because certainly if you drive around town, it doesn't seem to me that that's the way it works.
You are right. There is a system that could do such thing, but never really operate. Now we're trying to apply such systems, of course more advanced than President Vasiliou was talking about, but for the first time really we'll try to do such things. As you mentioned, now the traffic lights are fixed. Disregarding the demand and disregarding the queues, they're operating in the fixed time. Now we'll try to do an approach that will be adaptive to traffic conditions. So if we see queues, okay, we'll do something about it.
It'll change to green for the queued traffic, and therefore it will keep the roads clearer, I presume. How soon do you think that this can be implemented, at least at the major junctions where the big problems occur?
The first approach will be on the Griva-Diani corridor, which is a major corridor, with almost 8 traffic lights. That will be a pilot in order to measure how good that system works. And then, in a 3 years' time, possibly it will be expanded to Nicosia, all of Nicosia, and then to Limassol and Larnaca.
So it could be rolled out island-wide, but it's a few years down the line.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's the process. I mean, you should do it carefully. You should do it by trial and error. We'll try to quantitate the results and adapt to the new challenges, and that process is at least 2 or 3 years.
Okay, let's talk
to
then
be optimistic,
about the smart driver these days. We do already have Google Maps or whatever, and it tells you which is the best route according to the current traffic. We don't, as far as I know yet, have all the infrastructure in traffic signage, for example, because all new modern cars can read those traffic signs. You can put limits on making sure that you don't break a speed limit. There is so much information out there, and yet we don't seem to have that yet, and that will surely take much longer to roll out.
I'm not sure. The user devices, you mentioned the smartphones and the incorporation of Google Maps, they're doing enormous progress. Now we are in the position that we should rely on information provided by the ministry, which will be official and reliable, because Google Maps and any of these devices are not that reliable, I should tell you. Also, just recently in Cyprus, Google opened the traffic layers, the traffic information. Up to now, we just had only the basic network. Just a year ago, or less than a year ago, Google opened the traffic information. At the same time, the ministry is working towards to provide to the user reliable information. That will, I guess, we will see it in less than a year. Information about traffic, but also information about the transit systems, the routing, the scheduling, and the time until the next bus arrived at each station, which is an enormous step.
That will make a huge difference to people's use of public transport, that's for sure. But back to this idea that cars now can read traffic signs and interact, if you like, not only with the infrastructure of the roads, but in some cases with other vehicles as well. Mm-hmm. So that's a little bit further down the road,
it is,
but how is that going to change the way we approach mobility?
That will be a huge step. We're not there yet. We just try to communicate the general public information about traffic conditions, but we're not yet ready to communicate between cars, not in Cyprus, but everywhere in Europe. And also there is an approach to each car to communicate with the infrastructure and with other cars, which will be a huge network of information floating around. The other thing you mentioned, that cars can read signage, that's important for highways, but not that important to urban environment, because we know the speed limit's 50 kilometers per hour everywhere, so it makes no use to know the signage. You know already the traffic, the speed limit. So.
Yeah, but it's not just speed limits, is it? It's other things like one-way streets that we have a tendency, some people do here, to just drive down them anyway.
Not that many. The enforcement tells us that the Cypriot drivers they're speeding up a little bit, but not that much. It's a small percentage that violates the speed limits, at least.
And where are we going in the future with all of this? Because it'll make life much more relaxed for everybody who drives around town, but importantly, it will also save a lot of money, won't it? The hours that people sit in traffic jams is costing the GDP. People don't sometimes make that connection.
You are putting it absolutely right. There is a huge waste of money and time in most urban areas in Cyprus. Especially in Nicosia, the problem is a little bit more harsh. Where are we going? In an horizon of 5 to 10 years, we'll experience a new environment, at least Nicosia, and possibly the other cities too. We will live in a smart cities environment that we produce data, somebody collects it and makes supports our decision. They're getting back to us information that is relevant to us. And every piece of equipment and every piece of infrastructure will communicate information. That we will see pretty soon in Cyprus. It's the ministry has claimed that in up to 2025 we should be smart.
Well, the ministry is very much in favour of this, and it has been for several years. Even the previous minister was into all of this.
They're investing a lot of money, you know.
But also, let's talk about the municipality. The mayor of Nicosia at the recent conference on mobility and sustainability was very forthright in his comments about us not moving fast enough and not doing enough at all. So how much can you cooperate with him, because he has got very clear ideas on the way forward, not just for the increased mobility, but also, of course, for the air quality?
Let me tell you that I'm the head of the Laboratory for Transport Engineering at the University of Cyprus. We have very close ties with the municipality of Nicosia and personally with the mayor. As you said, yes, he's putting a lot of pressure in order to move forward. The municipality of Nicosia did a lot of stuff, both in transit but also to rejuvenate neighborhoods. Again, in 2 or 3 years, Nicosia will have a significant change. We will move forward a more walkable city, a more smart city, a city that you like to bike and walk and experience the urban structure. Yes, we're trying to cooperate. We do cooperate with the municipality of Nicosia, and we hope that we could support his efforts towards the change of Nicosia and towards to make Nicosia an example in the area, if not in the greater Mediterranean area.
So it looks like the quality of life in Nicosia is about to improve dramatically. We've been talking to Professor Loukas Dimitriou from the University of Cyprus. Well, that about wraps up this edition of the Cyprus News Digest. Many thanks for your company. Hope you'll join me next week. Till we meet again, take care and God bless. Bye-bye now.